Many thanks for joining us. Let's get the details now. Residents of Cape Coast have called for immediate solution to end the activities of illegal miners to save the country's water bodies. Correspondent Thomas Khan has been monitoring the effects of the water shortage following the release by the Ghana Water Company Limited on recent water supply challenges due to Galamsey activities.
In recent statements released by the Central Regional Directorate of the Ghana Water Company Limited, the activities of illegal mining has compromised the quality of water. The statement mentioned the turbidity of water at its Setraheming treatment plant drawn from the Pra River. Currently, the water treatment plant, which is meant to serve parts of Cape Coast, Elmina and other parts of the central region, can only do a quarter of its installed capacity. Residents in the affected areas have expressed their frustration about the water crisis.
The water that flows through our taps are polluted. Customers fetch and throw it away, but the meter is also reading. We always run at a loss.
Some residents narrated their ordeal and expressed their frustration and disappointment in government's inability to deal with the Galamsey menace.
Government should find a solution to this problem. We fall sick from using this water. The miners should be stopped if they are the ones causing the problem.
Meanwhile, convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, has faulted leadership for the failure in the fight against illegal mining. He says local solutions can be found to deal with the menace.
Leadership gets to the point where they take a lead from that of Otufo Santihene and make sure that those people who are actually driving this Galamsey, right, when they are mentioned, punished. So you see, the thing about leadership is that you just mentioned only one part of the leadership. The other problems is that Galamsey is a national problem but has local solutions. So by now we should be holding the leadership, those the DCs, MCs that have their districts straddling these major rivers, the Tunnel, the Brim, the Pratt. Currently, because they made commitment to the president that they were going to do what they ought to do, right, they need to be held accountable. The regional who are coordinating what it is that they're doing. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And the journalists, the media as well, we need to change our modus operandi, making sure that we can do a lot more investigative journalism. And there are other things that really need to be done, but I don't think you have the time for us to discuss.
Parliament reconvened today, September 3, for a recall sitting to transact urgent government business. Evelyn Tegma reports the two-day sitting will take place at the dome of the Accra International Conference Centre.
Parliament went on a recess sine die on July 30, but the majority caucus was dissatisfied with the last day sitting, indicating they had some government business to transact before rising. They petitioned the Speaker of Parliament for a recall, which subsequently was granted by the Speaker in accordance with Article 112 Clause 3 of the Constitution. Director of Media Relations David Damois is hopeful the dome will be ready by close of day Monday and mentioned some items that may be looked at.
The approval of the President's nominees to the Supreme Court, we had the vetting of these nominees. So the report is ready and I'm sure it will be tabled before the House for approval. Then we also had the loan agreement that government was seeking, which was about $250 million. We recall that at the last meeting, that loan was shut down because there were issues about it, and I'm sure it will feature prominently on this recall. The Speaker also formed a committee to investigate the Akosombo Dam spillage. I'm told that they have also done their work. I don't know whether the report will be ready, but if it's ready, I'm sure they also table it before the House as well. Workers
were working around the clock to ensure a smooth sitting on Tuesday. The recall sitting is expected to last for 2 days. Meanwhile, retrofitting work in the Parliament chamber is ongoing and scheduled to be completed by the end of October, when the House is expected to resume work. Evelyn Tegma, TV3 News, Accra.
And the Wenchi High Court has ordered government to pay 6 victims of Teiman South electoral violence a total of 270,000 cedis as compensation for violation of their right and legal fees incurred during trial. This was after the court, presided over by Justice Frederick Naura, found that their right to life and dignity had been breached.
8 lives were lost, as many others suffered various degrees of injuries during the 2020 elections. 6 of the injured persons and the father of an 18-year-old boy killed as a result of the violence took the matter to court seeking 25 million in compensation. The 6 made a case that the death and injuries occurred as a result of gunshots fired by security officers deployed by the government. As part of relief sought, the victims prayed the court to make a declaration to the effect that the said killing and injuries were a violation of their fundamental human right to life. It also sought an order for investigations into the shooting incident that occurred on December 8, 2020 at the Teiman South Collation Center. In his judgment, Justice Frederick Naura granted the relief sought by the victims after ascertaining that their respective rights had been violated. He also ordered an investigation into the injuries inflicted on them and prosecution of the perpetrators when found. An order of 25,000 was made for government to pay each of the victims as compensation, and an additional cost of 20,000 is to be paid each to the victims. Lodido Asari, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, some good news coming in this morning. The COLU Teaching Hospital has announced the resumption of elective surgeries following the completion of work on its faulty elevator. Management of the hospital, in an interview with TV3, says most of the faulty elevators will be replaced with new ones by the first quarter of 2025.
On average, the hospital performs close to 10 elective surgeries in a day, and so the suspension meant there are close to 100 patients awaiting recall for their scheduled surgeries. The development sparked reaction from the general public, considering the fact that the issue of faulty elevators at the hospital remain unresolved. Our checks at the department revealed the elevator is currently working.
Information has gone around to all the surgeons and then the other professionals that the lift has been fixed. So we will reach out to the patients and then tell them the new schedules that we have for them.
The hospital says by first quarter of next year, all outdated lifts will be replaced.
When we finish with that, then we'll move on to the second one. And then we'll do that throughout the hospital so that in no time we'll have all the lifts replaced.
Earlier, the ranking member on the health committee was at the unit unannounced to inspect the elevator, but was denied access by some staff questioning his identity.
I think the people didn't know who he was. After the incident, we met him and then we pleaded that anytime he's coming, even if it's a surprise, he should notify the administration so that we can accord him the necessary courtesies.
Well, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has dismissed claims that the installation of new meters is a scheme to overcharge customers. The company has said that the new meters accurately reflect actual consumption rates and cautioned against tampering. Samuel Dubik Mahama, Managing Director of ECG, was speaking at the beginning of an exercise to replace obsolete meters in Accra East.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has begun an aggressive exercise to replace all faulty meters in part of Accra in the company's loss reduction program, an initiative to facilitate the installation of smart meters and to improve energy accounting. Customers have already been complaining about increased energy consumption by the new meters that are being installed across the country. Reacting to this, Managing Director of the ECG noted the company is not fleecing its customers.
The old meters we had were very, very mechanical, which also led to some form of revenue loss. Every single thing you use at home will be read. Let's not politicize this exercise. Revenue generation by ECG is very, very critical to keep this sector alive.
He further warned customers against tampering with the new meters.
Please, these meters are smart meters. They are MMS compliant. They are very visible on a dashboard in our offices. Please don't tamper with these meters because we will know.
Accra East Regional Director Engineer Bismarck Otu said the new meters would address concerns of inefficiency, amongst others.
If a customer has a credit on the old meter, we would transfer this credit balance onto the new one. Similarly, if you have a debt on the old meter, we shall also be kind to transfer it onto the new meter so that you settle it.
ECG anticipates to end the meter replacement exercise by October.
This is your Election Command Center. Let's begin from the quarters of the NDC because its flag bearer is promising a rapid and all-inclusive review of the FreeSHS policy within his first 120 days to become the envy on the continent. Despite a successful rollout of the policy by the government in 2017, it has been bedeviled with challenges in carrying the attention of the IMF total for a review. Here is Kamla Kluche's report.
Eka say motomajo mama FreeSHS no beba be ye free ho na me ka chemo say FreeSHS abe enko baby da FreeSHS is here to stay. Ezu ye mom de beba be siese amana ye ebi say wo hwe na FreeSHS no senya omosi ayeno no emfaso e wo se awofo no nya no omunya ne sa ebi se obako na wotwe miensa okọ school na osabe fie betre fie boso miensa na ehon faso ne den ne aba ne se omode sika yede ma enkoda na eduane no omode ma company baako national buffer stock enti wo headmaster wote ho no wo need to me a wo de koto eduane ama enkoda no bibie ehia se yede benua eduane pa ama enkoda no e wo kintampo jom enti headmaster ne ne beza beko ho akoto sa ne oma ne nyina no mato odwan aka ho no makonua eduane pa ama enkoda de di ezu afenso yefunu ye dia ene ese come there wo se baby ya me etimi ye yesa wa wo de yefunu wo ten kan say come there and so MPP for back at you say where did you mean enti ni ayafamu no e wo se ye disua nyansa na min say abato obre aso yi omo de ntro ebebe biom.
Meanwhile, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has reiterated his will to protect the religious, moral and cultural sanctity of the people of Ghana, adding there will not be space for LGBTQ+ activities under his watch. Addressing Tribal Council of Chiefs in Kaswa as part of a Central Regional campaign tour, the NPP flag bearer said he will resist the practice.
In Kaswa, he first met and interacted with party supporters and traders. The team was later received at the Kaswa Odikos Palace, where he engaged the Council of Tribal Chiefs.
Your Excellency, you have changed the face of politics in Ghana. Unlike before, when it's getting to election time, we often hear insults near and death, and we are very happy. The way you are going, inshallah, 2025, the good people of Ghana will speak.
The Vice President urged the people of Awutu Senya East to promote him with their votes to become the next president.
Ghana, Vice President Saumwamba, Ghana has since independence. Unya Vice President, Waye Ejuma, Asin Dr. Mahamudu, Bawumia.
Since independence, all vice presidents produced in Ghana have not worked more than I have. I introduced 33 different policies as vice president. My opponent cannot even boast of one policy that he has introduced. LGBTQ will never happen under my watch.
He also took a swipe at his main contender, John Dramani Mahama, describing him as second-hand president.
home use second-hand president.
If you vote for John Mahama back to power, you have voted for home use second-hand president. But if you vote for me, the country will have a brand new tear-rubber president. So vote for me.
The campaign team later engaged some eligible voters and heads of Christian religious groupings in a town hall meeting.
We appeal to the flag bearers to actively promote peace and avoid any actions that may incite conflict.
MP for Awutu Senya East, Mavis Hawakumsin said, the NPP deserves another chance to implement more pro-poor policies to impact the citizens. In the Awutu Senya West constituency, he said if elected president, he will initiate economic reforms that will improve small-scale commerce in the country. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Kaswa.
Here in the studio, my name is Grace Hamuajuman. The Electoral Commission has denied claims that it is bloating the voter register to favor a political party. The EC insists that its register is credible and transparent. This follows concerns raised over the illegal transfer of voters during the just-ended voter exhibition.
The National Democratic Congress earlier raised concerns over the transfer of vote from Teiman South and Sagnarigu to Pusiga. A similar incident took place in the Ajumako Eyane CM constituency, where more than 3,000 voters were illegally transferred. The Electoral Commission, while accepting responsibility, noted that the anomalies have been rectified.
Preliminary investigations by the Commission have revealed that voter transfers were indeed effected for 38 individuals, using the credentials of an Electoral Commission official. The Commission has suspended the Pusiga District Electoral Officer and has invited him to respond to the Commission's findings. The preparations towards the 2024 exhibition exercise, the absent voters list, and the transferred voters list inadvertently included all transfers that had been done since 2020 when this register was first prepared. This understandably may have caused some anxiety to our stakeholders, as exemplified by the press conference addressed by the NDC in the Ejumaku Enyan Esiam constituency of the Central Region.
The Electoral Commission has asked the public to disregard notable persons who deliberately malign the EC.
The preparation of the register is a human endeavor. There are bound to be mistakes. The register is robust and credible. At the end of the day, the final certified register will reflect corrections of all identified errors.
And that's it for our package for the morning news on New Day. My name is Grace Hamuajuman. Thank you for joining us. New Day returns after this break.